My name is Larkin Fisher, but you can also call me LJ in class if that is easier for anyone. So, my major career goal, I am currently a rising high school senior. This is my summer dual credit class. But my career goal right now is to be an aircraft design engineer. I've always had an interest in mathematics, science, technology, and design. So it has been very clear to me for a very long time that that is something that I am very interested in pursuing for a career. What interests me most about government, politics, law, or public policy? What interests me most is how decisions are altered or made to fit the needs of the public, especially when the public is vastly different. If someone needs a certain thing and the government or a policy isn't willing to perfectly provide that for them, it is very hard to make those decisions. So I want to know how they make those decisions, how they come to the compromises that they do to help the most people that they can, instead of letting their own personal beliefs influence their decisions, because we all have our own beliefs, even if you are a government official. So I want to know how those compromises are made and how their own beliefs will affect that, and not only thinking for the general public, but for themselves. How do I believe the government impacts everyday life? Besides the obvious things such as laws and that tell us what is and isn't allowed, I believe government provides a structure that influences and changes cultural expectations of a certain country. The way things by the government are stated or enforced changes the way people interact with it in everyday life, like littering. In a lot of other countries in Asia, it is much more common for people to face punishment for littering, especially with things like gum, because it hurts or harms like the public property or the appeal of the public property. But in the United States, it's much more common for us to find litter on many different places, in public places. Like after the 4th of July, I would find trash on the beach, trash for miles stretching. And it's very common with that, and especially that people don't clean up after themselves, because littering isn't exactly enforced by the United States government. It is more so an expectation by the public, a responsibility, but it's also a responsibility that a lot of people don't take upon themselves. What qualities do I think make an effective leader or public servant? An effective leader or public servant should be charismatic. What I mean by that is, beyond likability, leaders and public servants hold a responsibility to effectively create change for those they're leading and serving. People follow and listen to those that they trust, and being charismatic builds trust. It builds a higher perception about how people view you changes, because if you're charismatic, you're more likable and people will want to listen to you. And so that makes you more likely to be heard, and it's your responsibility as a public servant and as a leader to be heard and make change based on the people that you are trying to serve. Have I ever engaged in voting, community service, leadership, or civic engagement activities? I am still underage, so I can't exactly vote in elections, but I do make time out of my schedule to volunteer. I volunteer with Lunches of Love sometimes, which lets me decorate bags or bag food for children who need lunches, especially if they depend on school lunches and it's not a time for school to be in session. So Lunches of Love will help provide them with meals. I also pick up trash at beaches and parks, especially after big events like the 4th of July. That's what I choose to do to help my community. What being an informed citizen means to me is that it means taking the time to educate yourself on local or nationwide election movements. That's a big one, because a lot of people, that's one of the main ones that people think of when they think about political responsibility or being an informed citizen, is about elections. Because it is very important that beyond ad campaigns and beyond what people are trying to tell you, that you make the decision to figure out what these people believe in and how much it aligns with what you believe in. Because that's the whole idea of voting, is that it should fit you and what you believe in. So it's a responsibility on you to know that. You should take the time before you vote to know who you're voting for. And maybe it's unexpected for you. You find that the person you originally thought you would vote for, based on what they showed to you, was not as better fit of a candidate as the other one, who you never even really regarded as an option. That's one of the main things about being an informed citizen, but also staying active in local governments, which a lot of people don't really do, but it's very important. It's in making a conscious effort to focus on what change you can make on a smaller level, and it's much easier to make change on a local government. How do I think social media influences politics and public opinion today? Social media makes it easy for information and heavily skewed information to reach a less informed public, because a lot of people on social media are teenagers or younger children, teenagers, young adults, and they are still forming their own opinion on politics outside of their family and friends. So whenever they see a certain video or campaign ad or something that's trying to persuade them to view a specific topic a certain way, then it leads to a lot more misinformation, especially because social media is not as regulated, so it is easier for people to be fed misinformation or information that leaves out details that are important for making decisions in the future. And social media also, one of the things it prides itself on is being able to show you videos that you want to see or focusing on a demographic. So if I were to see a very far right video that I didn't particularly believe in, I would see a comment section full of people who agreed with that video. And if I were to respond to that video and say, hey, I don't agree with this because this and this, it wouldn't be a very productive conversation, because the people in that comment section aren't people who are willing to engage with my comment in a productive manner. It's more so full of debates. And those debates never really lead anywhere because it's an online forum where people don't feel responsibility to understand or take action or be involved or engaged in a specific way. What motivates me to continue my education? What motivates me to continue my education is that I have a strong love for learning. I love every subject and have an interest in almost every career. So continuing my education allows me to connect with more opportunities and allows me to keep learning, which is very important to me. One interesting fact, hobby, or talent I have is that I love art. I love drawing, painting, photography, sculpture, music, and model building. I love to engage in all of that because all of these allow me to connect with other people and understand the inner workings of whatever I'm trying to recreate or make on my own. So whichever subject I've chosen to focus on, I can further it with other people and understand it. What do I hope my classmates in instruction learn about me from this assignment is I hope they learn that I love participation above all else. I enjoy every single thing I learn and every single thing I can do with what I know. It's very important to me that I keep being present in every single moment, enjoyable or not, because I want to continue learning in every moment that I can. Thank you.